So your business isn't defined. Your life isn't defined by this moment or this situation. Your life is defined by the entirety of it over a period of time based on the right things that you're doing. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, all you tactical agents out there. We are going to give you 15-ish minutes of unbridled pleasure in your ear holes. It's like 3 times the amount that you normally get in any hole. I don't even know what
I was like, where are you going to carry this, buddy?
This is the problem. This is the problem with cold opens. I truly try to like just hit record without thinking about it at all. And just so that you guys know, I think this is a good thing to say, like to be on Front Street about we don't plan these at all. Literally, like I had 2 topics pop into my head today. Fire them off to Chris. He says this one, so we go with it. And literally, we have a topic. That's all we start with. And I think that the reason I think it's important to let you guys know is so you understand like the nature of the show, that this isn't like scripted or overly thought out, but there's stages to learning. And I don't know if I talked about this in advanced coaching this week. And have you heard of these, Chris? Unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, then conscious competence, and then unconscious competence. Basically, once you get to know something so well, you don't really have to think about it too much. So the more familiar you become with anything, the more it can become, not something that you have to like grind your gears to to get thinking on. And that's how it is with the tactical agent system. Our approach, we've already poured ourselves into this. And so we can pick any piece of it and talk about it. And we hope it adds value. You can join us in our exclusive Facebook group. And by exclusive, I mean we have like 3 or 4 questions to get in the group, and you're in. Tacticalagents.com, as of right now, will get you on a landing page to get your invite to the group. So fire that off if you're interested. And if we add value to your life or your business, subscribe here on YouTube. Drop a like, share it up. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, drop that 5-star rating and add a review. And that's the price of admission to the show. That's it. We want to add value, and if it helps you, awesome. If not, shut us off.
Also, speaking of YouTube, I'm sure everybody watching on YouTube notices the different background. So I'm in my office today. No, I'm not trying to take duck lip selfies with this high angle. I just have a very large stand.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that too. But also a stand, and no way to adjust it down right now. So it's a technical failure. But
yeah, but you didn't expect it. It wasn't like you had time. You had to move. Had to move the last minute. But all right. Today we wanted to talk about you've got one of 2 problems when you run into a problem, right? And everybody in business, everybody in life runs into problems, right? And I'm not talking about the kind of people in your life that seem to always have a problem. Like everybody has some of those people in their life where it seems like for the last 12 years, life has just been against them. No matter when you talk to them or ask them what's going on, it's always somebody else's fault that life just sucks for them. And everybody's met somebody like that. Nobody likes anybody like that. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like you run into a hurdle, you run into an obstacle, you run into a situation where you feel stuck, you're struggling. That happens to everybody. And at the risk of oversimplifying, I think it's one of 2 problems at the heart of it. Obviously, you can tease that out in different, details. But first of all is that you may be holding on to a limiting belief. The way that your mindset is, or the way that you're framing your experiences or problems is drastically having an impact on what actions you'll take or how you're going to either run away from your problem or deal with it appropriately. So that's one problem you may be having, is limiting beliefs. The other one is going to be a lack of skill. Like you truly don't know what to do. right? So what we want to talk about in the next few minutes is just, well, how do you deal with those things? Obviously we're going to oversimplify it. We're only podcast is going to last no longer than 20 minutes. So it's going to be pretty simplified, but um, so let's start with limiting beliefs. Someone comes to you, Chris, and they're, let's just say that maybe in their business they've had a rash of people dropping out. They were going to be buyers, right?
Mhm.
Hey, I want to buy. Let's start looking. They start looking. You've spent time with them, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, we changed our mind. We're out." So that agent is like, "Man, this sucks. I'm stuck now. I was depending on
Mhm.
these 4 or 5 buyers, and now they're all gone." So address that from a mindset issue, or what kind of limiting beliefs could creep in.
Well, there's a lot of different ways that you could, allow limiting beliefs to creep into something like that. I mean, it could be something simple like, I didn't do a good enough job, and they're just telling me this to, you know, push me off to the side or something. But in general, the the whole concept of limiting beliefs really stems from, you know, it's kind of deep in your background. And this is like a trying to talk about this in a 15-minute podcast is really difficult because I mean you're talking years of research and thousands upon thousands of pages of books reading about this whole concept. But to boil it down, you can just take this. You have this psychology about who you are as a person, and it can it comes from your background, it comes from your experience, it comes from influences in your life, people around you. There's so many different things, but when you start developing that limited mindset, you just don't have confidence in
Hmm.
yourself and your ability. Um, and when you kind of let that start sinking in and taking over, it can really be a detriment to what you're doing. But in your specific instance, when you're talking about you have a lot of people quit, and it makes you think, it kind of makes you feel as though you're doing something wrong because you're having you went from having what looked to be a lot of success to now not having so much because of so many people dropping out, and that can have a pretty profound effect on your mindset. And you start thinking, well, I must be doing something wrong. um, and that's true. You probably are, to be honest. um,
Yeah,
because
because
if you're
you might have both problems: a limiting belief
yeah,
and a lack of skill. Could be
right.
both. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And when you ultimately, if you really examine it, if you have a lack of business, it is your fault, right?
Hmm.
Because you're not putting in the effort, you're not focusing enough, you're not putting your effort in the right place. There's a lot of different things, and I speak from a lot of experience on this one. I have a tendency to get pulled off in different directions, as you know. So, but the the truth of the matter is, like, these two things kind of run hand in hand. When people don't know what to do, they don't have the skill set to recover from stuff like that. And then they have these kind of things happening to them. This limiting belief about what they can accomplish comes together with their lack of skill in remedying the situation, and creates a pretty big problem for them.
Yeah, I think I feel like when those kinds of things happen, there's a couple of things at play. As I put myself in the position of, if one of the agents we coach came to us and was saying, "Hey, this just happened. This is what's going on this week. I had 4 buyers. They all bailed on me." Um, I would I would say, like, yeah, you're feeling like a failure, right?
Hmm.
And the limiting belief is that my business is defined by the struggle that I'm going through right now. That's a belief that you're holding on to. And I would say, yeah, but that's not true, right? Like, you have to reframe it around something that's true. No, your business is in the long run going to be a product of the development of relationships that you have, and
Hmm.
doing the right things over the right period of time. You got to do it long enough. So your business isn't defined. Your life isn't defined by this moment or this situation. Your life is defined by uh, the entirety of it over a period of time based on the right things that you're doing. So like just framing that, that doesn't mean that somebody's going to believe it, but reframing it around that limiting belief, right? And then
Mhm.
the other thing is a limiting belief that would be present in that situation, possibly, would be I'm in control of my clients.
Mhm.
You're not, right? You're not. You're not them. You're not living their life. Like, and it may be indicating that you have an intention to just turn a commission and not actually help people. Because you know what? Some people might start the buying process and they might realize when they start looking, you know what? We really don't want to move. Now that we're starting to see what's out here compared to what we have in our situation, like, we don't, we're just going to hit the pause button. It's not your life to live. So you
Right.
might be upset or whatever, but there's a limiting belief there that these people represent money and don't represent being people. And
Mhm.
there's all sorts of little things, and we would have to take a deep dive with that person in conversation to coach them to weed out the limiting belief and plant a new one in its place that's based
Mhm.
on reality, truth. But yeah, that's how limiting belief can affect you. But then, like you said, it could be indicative of a lack of skill or a lack of knowledge on what they should be doing in their business. We're really big on saying every agent needs a complete, proven system, right? So many agents, when they get into this business, are just kind of like thrown to the wolves
Mhm.
and figure it out. And you try this, then you try this, then you try this, and you're inundated with shiny objects and offers and all kinds of stuff. And very rarely will someone put their head down, sign off on an investment in themselves that says I'm going to do this, and this is all I'm going to do, and I'm not going to think about it for a year. I'm just going to do the right things, and
Mhm.
I'm going to learn this and do this. So there could be certainly a lack of skill in which someone's like there may be something in their process. Like, okay, well, why are you losing so many clients all at one time? Like, why are so many of them bailing? Is there something in your process, in your approach, that is causing people to lose a little bit of that sense of trust and dependability in you? You know,
Yeah.
so could be.
Yeah, and especially speaking to those experienced agents out there, like people get really offended when you tell them they lack a skill set, but
I've been doing this for
the
30 years.
yeah, but
You see
the
my
truth
business card?
is, yeah, with my 1993 Glamour shot on it, um, but really, like you have to know your limitations, and you have to be able to realize that there's always something to learn. And when you look at, you know, most agents just kind of stumble blindly through their career and hope it works out. That's
Yep.
how most of them operate.
Yeah.
And I, I, I'd be comfortable saying probably at least 75%, maybe 80%, um, live their life that way. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you that
That
I
sounds so
am
stressful.
it does, right? Well, 100 I am 100% confident too that you and I could take any one of those 80%, plug them into our system and say, "Do these things," and then they start doing them, and then they will have way more success. And even if you're a successful agent that's kind of, happy-go-lucky, whatever happens, happens, and you've managed to find success, um, to the degree of 10, 15 million a year. If you plug into a system like this, or it doesn't have to be ours, I'd like for it to be ours, but if it's somebody else's, plug into theirs. If you really put in the effort and you take a complete proven system and you employ it and use it effectively, man, you can totally change everything. You want to know the difference between the $10 million agent and the $40 million agent? That's it right there. Look at them. They'll all tell you the same thing. They have a system and they use it.
Mic drop. I don't really nothing else to honestly like that. That's it, right? And so no matter when you come to that point when you feel like I'm stuck, it's always going to be one of those two things, and yes, a combination of both, right? The
Mhm.
question is, do you have the ability to self-diagnose that every time? Do you know what it is? It's always helpful to have somebody else, sort of like that outside perspective, right? Uh, I won't get too preachy on you, but the wisest man that ever lived in the Proverbs said, "In the multitude of counselors, there's safety." Right? Like, you want to
Mhm.
feel confident, you want to feel um, like, man, I'm walking a path that others have walked. You need other people to look at you and go, "Hey, man, this is what's going on." You keep saying this one thing, and it's indicating to me that you have a really limiting belief. You have a really
Mhm.
improper view of yourself or others or your business, and we gotta pull that out, and we gotta replace it with something that's true. And you need to start believing that, and then our beliefs will lead to different actions. And then sometimes people just need to, be told, like, no, this isn't a helpful way to do this. There's
Mhm.
another way to do it, and here's what it is. And lots of options in both
Well,
of those directions.
and you and I created this system, right? Like we created the whole tactical agent thing and pieced it together from other things and whatever, but we still have the counsel of each other and other people, like it's not a situation where arrive and you've learned
Oh
everything you need
yeah.
to learn and you have all the skills you need to
Yep.
have um and the second you think you've got everything figured out, somebody's going to remind you that you're wrong. That's for sure.
Yeah, the wisest man that lived also said, "Pride comes before a fall." When you think you've got it all figured out, that's you know, get ready to trip on something, because it's coming.
Yeah.
And that's why I still pay for coaching. Like, I will forever, regardless of what it takes from me, I will sacrifice so many other things. I will have no TV and no internet before I ever stop having a coach, before I ever stop having people in my life that are able to speak into it and help me identify my limiting beliefs and shift them, and to help me increase in my skill set. I always have room to improve. And those two things are always at the heart of our problems. So
Yeah.
if you're stuck, if you're struggling, hey, well, if we can add value to you and help you, we do these 45-minute strategy calls. Um, yes, we have paid coaching. That's on Front Street, ladies and gentlemen. Um, we also have a free path. We'll talk about that, but uh, we also do 45-minute calls where we share with you an answer to where you're struggling. And every strategy call, I'm looking for, do I need to address limiting belief? Do I need to address a lack of skill? And what tools or resources can I give them to help them overcome this? And we do that in a 45-minute call. And I spend a lot of my days now on a computer, staring at a camera, talking to people and helping them with this very thing. So
Hey,
if
how
you
much
want to
does one
get
of
in,
those strategy calls cost, Mike?
whatever you value your time of 45 minutes at, I suppose. No additional dollars.
Yeah.
No additional dollars.
You don't even
So
collect a credit card number, do you?
no, no, no. I should do that though. I should do that.
For people that don't show up, click.
Yeah, that would be nice. That non-refundable $25 deposit. So if you stiff me on a session that I blocked off 45 minutes for, I'm not screwed completely. So um yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's this episode. And I really think that a lot of you will listen to this and be like, you know what? They're right. And join the group, guys. Tacticalagents.com will get you your invite. The Tactical Agents group is on Facebook, and we start there, and we can't wait to meet you. Until then, stay tactical, my friends.